Okay guys, we're starting with the polishing on the wet sanded part of the body. We've already got everything wet sanded all the way from 4,000 to 12,000 grit on the paint. Now, mind you, the paint's not perfect. There were some issues with the body, but I think it's gonna come out okay. We're gonna know right after the polishing. There's a weird line that just keeps reappearing on this fender here. It's something in the plastic that just keeps showing through the paint. I got rid of most of it in my wet sanding, but let's see, hopefully it stays away. Now, I want to show you this side here, which I just finished with the initial polishing. And for that, you can see the difference between on the body here. I mean, that is a really nice shine, and we're not done yet. That was accomplished using Mr.mo compound. This is their fine compound. Didn't go to the coarse because I didn't think it was really necessary. So I'm going to start with the fine, and then we're going to go on to their finishing compound. And that's really going to make it pop. But you can see here, you can see the reflection of my light. It just really, really has a beautiful shine now. The paint's very smooth. Or as smooth as I could make it, you know. Did have some issues with it. And here we have the wet sanded part that's not polished. So we're going to polish this out now. Now, my procedure for polishing is I use my Keshi rotary tool. Little cordless rotary tool. Works really great. You can get these on Amazon. They're not very expensive and they work fantastic. The only thing is the battery life isn't really great. It'll run out of power before you're done fully polishing the model. So it might be a good idea to get two of them, so you always have one charging and ready to go. Now, I have my foam pads. Generally, I use one foam pad for applying the compound, and then another one for cleaning it off. And that seems to give me the best results so far. So, we're just going to get started here. We're going to put our application compound on. Generally, what I like to do is I take a little bit of the compound, I dab it on the car. I might have gone a little heavy there, and then I just rub it into the body. Just to make sure the body's covered. You can see the wet sanding. What I like to with my wet sanding, I know where I'm done when the plastic starts to look like it was molded in that color, which means that you've gotten the paint really, really flat, and that's going to give you the best reflection. So now we're going to start the rotary tool up, and then we're just going to start buffing. Just slowly going over. You got to always be careful that you're not spending too much time on corners and on the seam lines, as that's where you'll have the least amount of paint or clear coat to work with. Now I put a pretty heavy layer of clear on this body. I use the Tamiya clear from a spray can, and I laid it on kind of thick because I knew I had a lot of issues with the body that I was going to have to deal with. So I needed materials to work with. And here we go. We're compounding it out. Giving me a nice super sharp shine coming through. Then we're going to switch to the other one. I like to do one small panel at a time, so you can concentrate all your polishing on one area. And for me, I just love it when the shine just starts to slowly come out. You start seeing it as you're buffing back and forth. Now, don't spend too much time in one spot, because that can lead to disaster and you can burn right through the paint. So basically, you just got to keep moving. Always being very mindful of your edges and any sort of seam lines so that you don't burn through them. Especially if you're doing this on paint without a clear coat on it, because the clear coat gives you a little bit of a buffer. before you get to the paint and you damage the paint. And I know the super shiny finish like this isn't really the way these cars were painted originally, but I love a really shiny finish. And if you've missed Mr.mo's car, if you've seen it in person, that thing gleams in the sunlight. So that's what we're trying to get here. It's going to go until we're almost completely gone on the compound. You can see a point where if the pad is no longer taking it off and all you're doing is spreading it back and forth. So now at that point, we're going to switch to our cleaning compound, cleaning pad, making sure that it's fully stuck onto that Velcro, because a lot of times they can just fly right off. And these pads are a little worn, so. All right, so now we can see that there. Now watch this. It's almost like magic. Look at what comes out after we give it a... I had to do a lot of heavy sanding on this side to deal with that line that just keeps appearing out of nowhere. I don't know what's causing that. But I think that I don't really see it now. Just looking for marks, sanding marks, anything that I may have to go back in and do a little more wet sanding to clean up so that it doesn't detract from the shine of the car. And the more you polish, the smoother it gets. But remember, every time you're polishing, you're taking material off of the paint, off of the body. So make sure you have enough on there that you don't burn through your paint. There we go. Look at that, guys. What the heck was that? Oh. Alright, look at that, guys. Look at the finish there. That is amazing. And if you touch it, it's just smooth and slick to the touch. Now, mind you, this isn't even finished because I still have to do the finishing compound, and then it'll be a wax all over the entire body when it's all said and done. And then you just have to watch the static charge the plastic gets. Now, what I do afterwards is I go over it with a toothbrush to get everything out of the seams, as you'll be amazed at how much of this stuff collects in the seams. And then I wash the body and give it a final wipe down. And all of this gives you really great finishes in your paint, as you can see here. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off the rest of this body, and then we'll be back and see the final result.